Hi Ninja. First of all, let me just tell you that your name is really fascinating. Like, would you like to share
Oh,
uh, some? I did it. Sorry, my mistake.
well, my real name is Ninja, actually. My mama ji named me Ninja. My my mother lost her father when she was, a couple of years before her marriage. So, when there's not a father figure in the family, the boys in the family take over and they do random shit.
Yeah.
So she was the only sister they had and the eldest of them all. So when I was born, so she was like, why don't the boys do the, you know, honor of naming my first child? So my mama, his name is Lion Mama.
Wow.
So he named me Ninja because he used to watch a lot of English movies. And like Punjabis and like Jats have this thing of, coining very international names like Silky Singh or, like Rocket Bhatia. So it's Ninja Singh. So it was just like that. So they named me Ninja and I'm glad they did. It worked for me. My
It did.
brothers, yeah, my brothers are also named Simmons and Robic. So they're also very unique names. So that was how it goes.
Yeah. Actually, Ninja, like, if you, do you mind calling you Ninja, or should I call you
Of
ma'am?
course. No, no, Ninja, of course.
Yeah. So Ninja, so I was reading about your article and I've read like a little bit about you. There is so much that needs to be, discussed about, and your story, of course, it's very inspiring. So would you like to tell us, like, of course, when we try to create a society, I think it's easier, but when we try to change it, it's very difficult. So, would you mind sharing with us how your journey has been since you decided to change the status quo of the society and bring a change about? So, do you mind sharing with us what your story has been like, and when did that exact moment come when you decided that, okay, you have to do something to change what the status quo in the society is right now?
Well, I think my story is very similar to yours, or any girl born in India, or any cultural nation in the country. I feel like everyone goes through sexual abuse, harassment, rape, patriarchy. I've lived in New York for almost 10 years. I was modeling there. So there's patriarchy everywhere in the world.
Yeah,
The the demographics of patriarchy might change, the intensity might waver, but it's there everywhere in the world. And women comply and adjust according to what men set the standards as. But so, you must have read about it and it's out on the internet. I started modeling very young. And the reason I wanted to model was I wanted to get out of my father's house because it was not like he was treating me any different from his sons, but it was just that I was not feeling fulfilled or satisfied being in that situation and feeling like I was doing the best of who I can be. So I got out of my parents' house, I became a model, and long story short, I was raped multiple times. I was dating multiple men because I wanted to pay my rents in time and whatnot because I didn't want to ask my father for money. So I realized one day I asked myself that all these things that I'm doing to myself, why the hell am I judging myself? If I'm sleeping with men, if I am doing something, why am I judging myself? Because everyone has these standards of pasteurization and purification for women. Okay, so if your bralette and anything, your bra hook is visible, you're a whore. If you are out in the night, you're a whore. If you get raped, you're a whore. If you don't get children, if you don't give birth to children, you're a whore. You get an abortion, you're a whore. So I was like, if anything that I do, I become a randi, so I might as well accept that I am. So I was like, I became very okay with myself after an incident in 2017 May where I was dating this guy and I got victimized and I got sexually abused. I was burned by a steam iron and all of that happened. I ended up in a psychiatry department. I was raped. So I realized that, whatever I'm going to do, the men are not going to like it. So I was like, okay, अब कपड़े ढंग से उतर ही गए हैं तो अब पहनने का कोई फायदा तो है नहीं. So I was like, I was not interested into like layering myself again and telling the guy who was going to marry me, look, I'm such a great woman and my honor comes from your perception of me. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. And I was like, this is who I am. Instead of focusing on what other men think about me, I started focusing on how much money I make. And when I started evaluating my life based on the monetary dynamics that I was creating myself, I realized that you can overpower anything if you have money.
Money.
And when I started focusing on that, I started working on my business. I became more vocal about situations. I became more vocal about things because here I am at a powerful position in the fashion industry and people look up to me. So when they are already looking up to me, then I might as well just reveal myself that I'm no different from you. I have been abused. I have been forced to do things that people are forced to do. But in that moment, I forgive myself because I did not know any better. I couldn't choose any better. So, you know, I'm not going to let my father tell me how pure I am. I'm not going to let my boyfriend or my brother tell me if I'm a dignified woman. Because who the fuck are they? So I feel like, the whole situation and the whole rhetoric and the whole society's perception of women is going to change when we stop asking for justice from a man. So I was like, gone are those days, gone are those moments when I have to go up to my father and be like, मैं अच्छी लड़की हूँ ना. मैं नहीं हूँ अच्छी
Mm.
लड़की, मुझे घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ता. अब आपको मेरे बारे में जो सोचना है आप सोचते रहो. मेरे पापा को लगता है मैं 2 कौड़ी की लड़की, मैं अपने बाप के घर में नहीं रहती. So अगर
Mm.
somebody has to become, freedom is always achieved not by the people who do who do peaceful protests. Believe it or not, it is always achieved by extremism that we do not want to validate because history wants to write the pacified way of getting things. But it was Bhagat Singh and men like that who fought for us. I know Gandhi was doing his part, but a lot of blood was shed by the extremists, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, and all those people like that. So I feel like for a woman to achieve her situation and her standard in the society, she has to become like me.
Yeah.
She has to become like me where men are calling her a whore. And she's like, yeah, the constitution does not say that a whore cannot survive, you know. So I'm okay being a whore. I don't care. So, and these things are things that I learned from hijras, eunuchs, by the way. I used to often sit in the car and go away, and on red lights, these guys would come up to me, right? And I would see that everyone was so scared of them taking off their clothes. इनको पैसे दे दो मैडम ये नंगे हो जाएंगे चलो चलो
Mm.
चलो चलो यहाँ से and I was like she looks like a woman but you're scared of her and I was like what is this thing that you're scared of they were scared of her taking off her sharam so I
Yeah.
was like that's what I gotta learn I gotta learn from the chakkas I gotta learn from the hijras that if I take off my sharam the society gets scared of me so I was like you know I don't give a damn about what people think of me. And I'm just going to do what I feel is correct. I'm the most politically incorrect person out on social media with a blue tick. I um, I write what I feel. I oppose the government if I want to. I mean, what's the point living if you're not going to be driven and opinionated about things that you think matter? And
Yeah.
all these ministers sitting in position, they call themselves child and women welfare ministers, but they're not doing shit for women. Women are still getting raped. A girl got raped in Hathras that the government pressed like this. No one talks about it. Um, so women are still getting raped. Fathers are still telling their daughters what is the appropriate way of sitting. Mothers are still telling their daughters that you've got to go to this Ivy League college to find yourself a perfect husband. So there are levels of patriarchy. There are levels of patriarchy that you and I would think don't exist, but those are abstract ways of implementing it. They would send you to an Ivy League. Your friends would think, oh my God, such a feminist family. But their ultimate motive would be for you to find a husband in the Ivy League school, not for you to become a run for president or VP of a like a venture capitalist firm. So these are levels of saturation that I have identified, and I don't really care what other men think about me. I mean, men are very intimidated of me because I'm such a huge woman. I'm 6 feet tall. Um, I have my own opinion, and I feel like this is a time in the revolution that has been happening in this country. I've seen girls take off their clothes, girls wearing bras and posting pictures. I mean, it's a great way of showing how feminist you are. But I feel like in a country like India, it's much more deep rooted than your digital interference of perception. It's just not taking off your clothes, but it's also taking off how you perceive your own self as a woman. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm targeting those underlying thoughts. Do you have something to hold the camera because I feel like you're in pain?
No, 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 not in pain. Actually, if I put the camera down, then the wire that's connected to the earphone, it tilts the phone. So it's fine this way. It's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is. I feel like as a woman, it's my job. I mean, I don't know what the future beholds for me, but I feel like it's my job to make sure that I am at least honest to my gender. I don't
Yeah.
forget who I am. I run this passionate business in fashion industry where everyone thinks that I'm so different from them because I have not forgotten who I am. I've not forgotten multiple times that I was sexually abused by my cousin brothers, by my uncle's son playing hide and seek. I've not forgotten how many times I've had abortions. I've not forgotten how my boyfriends used to abuse me, many of my ex boyfriends forcing me to give them blowjobs. So I've not forgotten any of that. And I feel like as a man, you have so many examples in the society of who to become. But as a woman, you do not have any examples or any women to look up to who are addressing the real issues. So I feel like I'm going to talk openly about how old I am. I'm going to openly talk about how I've gotten abortions. And I'm going to openly talk about I have been raped, but I don't give a fuck. And my life doesn't stop. You
Wow.
saw my titties on Pornhub.com. Great. Go like them. I don't care. So, show it to your papa. He might like it too. So, I don't care.
That
That's how you gotta live.
you make a very interesting point about patriarchy. So what I feel is that patriarchy is still prevalent in our society because women empower men too, to dominate them, to drive them or steer them to go a certain way. So like you talk about sexual abuse and you talk about all these men from, be it your cousin brothers or your boyfriends or anybody else who thought it was okay to sexually exploit somebody they knew or didn't know. So do you think women for that matter also have a role to play, because they somehow let that happen and they make men believe that they have the power to do it? Because I don't think the number of women who would go out and do that to a man is far lesser compared to the men who do that to a woman. So somehow men have that in mind that they can do it. And since they believe that they can do it, maybe it's their mothers more than their fathers who made them think that it was okay to patronize a woman, or it was okay to maybe scold their sister, or maybe scold their girlfriends, or friends over girls. So how much role do you think women also have had to play in the kind of society that has turned out right now? I'm sure you must have had experiences with women also where they must have judged you or tried to pull you down. So how much do you think even they contribute to this, the dark patriarchy that exists in the society?
So, if you go scientifically thinking about, because I was a science student, I was studying to be a doctor, then I graduated in botany. Right now, I'm pursuing law. Um, so I love science, and I think about situations in a very scientific way. So when you think of women and their role that is that they play in patriarchy and them becoming the victims, I feel like it's all because of generational oppression. So, I mean, I don't know for how many billions of years man has been on this planet. And for all those billions of years, you have been told that you are not enough. All those billions of years, you have been told you're secondary. all those billions of years you've been told that I am the one who's going to go get the meal, and you're going to be the one who's going to cook for me. So this generational oppression has resulted into this mindset where women have now taken this as the status quo that yes, we are secondary. We can
Yeah.
never be number one. And if you go about science thinking how things happen, humans used to have a tail. We have come from, chronologically, we have come from chimpanzees. So we used to have these webbed feet and tails, and now since you call them vestigial organs, so things that you are not requiring right now as per your movements and your locomotion, things fade away. So you don't need a tail, the tail goes away in generations. So what has happened is the women have adapted to this mindset where the men have been educated, the men have been the ones who are, going out and bringing in stuff, and the women are the ones who are the servers basically. They are not the ones who are the main parties in the household. So I feel like this has been so deeply rooted into the mindsets of women, because if you think about it, like a female dog and a male dog, they're both spectrum of the same species, right? So they both have their own roles to play. So a man and a woman has both the roles to play. I have heard in so many interviews women talking about, oh, we are physiologically or cerebrally weaker, whatever the fuck, a lot of actresses also talk about. But I
Yeah.
feel like, think about it. If your father and my father put us into the same physical education classes as my brother was going on to, if he sent us out bike riding at 11 in the night, the same way my brother was doing at that point of time, don't you think you and I would have the same, if not better, caliber of addressing life and terror and predators like my brother does? I don't have a doubt about that. So it's the
Yeah.
training. So first, it's the it's the oppressed mindset that we have. Second, it's the training, right? We both have the same organs. We have everything, but it's also the training. मम्मी यहाँ ज्यादा अंडे नहीं देती है बेटी को, बेटा तेरे बाइसेप्स ज्यादा बड़े हो जाएंगे, तू लड़का लगेगी, कम खाया करे, अपनी कमर पतली होनी चाहिए, टांगे ऐसी होनी चाहिए. So society has not only controlled the way we think,
But
they've
also the
also,
way.
yeah, we look, how we think about ourselves, how our
Yeah.
fathers think about us, how our brothers are supposed to think about us, and not only that, all the Indian festivals that we celebrate. You take a woman away from that festival, there is no festival.
Mm.
करवा चौथ अगर औरत व्रत नहीं रखेगी तो होगा ही नहीं. दिवाली पे अगर तुम्हारी माँ दिया नहीं जलाएगी तो दिवाली नहीं बनेगी. ठीक है, ऐसा कोई भी फेस्टिवल नहीं होता जिसमें तुम्हारा बाप और भाई कोई मेन रोल प्ले कर रहे होते हैं. सो उन्होंने रिलीजियसली, फिजिकली, साइकोलॉजिकली, बायोलॉजिकली, हर तरीके और सोशली, हर तरीके से they have made and intertwined the whole rhetoric as that women are the center of the universe, but they're still not important. you know so
Mm.
having said that, yes, I do address women who hate me, who do not like me, but imagine a person who has always never been out in the sun, who has always lived in a room. So when he
Yeah.
does go out in the sun, he's going to be like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
I want to go back in there. So women have this way of thinking, but when more women like yourself and me are going to talk not about their physical thoughts, but about their deep rooted insecurities, then things are going to change. So, women do not have a role to play in what men do. On the contrary, the generational oppression that men have imposed on us, because men always knew that women can outsmart them
Mm.
physically, scientifically, anything. In China, the Chinese civilization is based on women. The women used to be, uh, you know, um, they used to be the main people. They used to be leading the herds. The
Yeah.
Neanderthals, and I forget, the before the Homo sapiens happened, the different genres of civilization, it was the women who were leading. So men have realized it back in the day that, listen, if you're going to let these people Imagine this, okay? You have a baby today, right? You're financially independent, you have a baby today. Why do you need a husband? Think about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna just be like, मुझे बच्चा निकल, वो मिल गया, निकल, बाहर निकल यहाँ से. You can just do that,
True.
right? So
Yeah.
the man is never going to have a kid. He's never going to have someone who is going to go on with the species, right? Now that basic step is not going to be conquered. Hence why he has created these rituals of women getting married away, going away, and vidai and all
Staying
of
with
that
somebody.
bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so many women that we even know and we've heard of, they are scared to move out of their husband's home or divorce their husbands because they think they won't be financially as stable, as secure. In society, they won't have that kind of respect. And that fear, most of the time, drives them to be in relationships which are abusive, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally also. So I think if this kind of stage can be achieved where women are, self-reliant and they can support themselves, I think nobody will take shit from any man. So I
Correct.
think women to feel that they are capable of being independent and earning a living from them for themselves, I think that's a very important step because money does play a very important role
Very
to survive.
important.
Yeah. So yeah,
You know,
that's really important.
there's this whole thing about where every girl wants to be a papa's princess, but nobody
Yeah.
wants to be a mama's raja. You know,
Hmm.
so the whole society is also conducting women to become princesses. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to become a princess, but there's no fun being a princess because you're not achieving anything by yourself. So this
Yeah.
whole bullshit is going to change because you're brainwashing a woman since she's born.
True.
You know, you're telling her to apply creams to become soft. What happens if you're hard?
Yeah.
What happens? Am I ugly if I'm hard? Like, what's the problem? So they're telling them if you are darker skin, you're ugly. Darker skinned men gets gory BVs because he makes a lot of money. But a
Yeah.
darker skinned woman is not gonna get a Gora husband because she has failed as a woman, even if she's making a lot of money. So all these things are the system brainwashes. Uh, Men brainwash women. Men own
Yeah.
these all big companies, their beauty brands, and all the media. It's the visual impact, olfactory impact, all these impacts they generate where women are oppressed. It's not only what you read in the books, but it's the TV advertisements. Whenever you go and see credit card ad, it's the man who's sitting with a newspaper, it's the woman who's cooking and saying, "Beta, jaldi aao, tiffin pack ho gaya." What are you saying? What are you showing
Yeah.
us? You're showing us misogyny. You're showing us sexism. But everyone
Hmm.
thinks that's the righteous way of living a life.
Yeah, that's the ideal life. That's the life you would want to achieve.
Yes,
And I think in every culture, like even in the West, women aspire to have like a white picket fence house and two children and a husband. So I think all these distorted, benchmarks of living your life, they really need to be set in place. Otherwise, we really cannot progress. And
correct.
when I talk about that, what I would really like to ask you is that modeling itself is considered to be a very sexist and a very difficult industry to crack. So, what made you take it up, and what made you have a modeling agency of your own? Because what we believe is that modeling itself is a very competitive, and women, they really have to go through a lot in this profession. So, how has your journey been, and what do you think about this entire profession as such?
Well, when I started modeling, my father was a little skeptical about sending me for. I won fourth supermodel in India. That's how I started my career. And I mean, I can, for the record, I'll tell you that nobody in the fashion industry has ever raped me. It has always been men that I wanted to get close with or I wanted to date, and those are the people who have taken advantage of me. But for me, modeling has been a very professional way of doing things because I'm a straight shooter. I'm not like I don't go under, I don't have any hidden agenda when I'm talking. If I have to say something, I'm in people's face. But in this industry, it's a sexist industry, yes, when it comes to um, creating roles. It's a sexist industry where it comes to designing outfits, it's a very sexist industry. I think the creative genius of this industry is very sexist. But when it comes to the executional genius of this industry where I am a part of, where I have to create models and send them out for actually doing jobs. I feel like there's nothing wrong that can happen where I'm involved. And the reason that I took it up is because people call me a very dangerous woman, so I'm not scared of anybody. And nobody that comes to me has ever been harassed. And I'm very clear about certain things. When I say women have to do jobs, they have full rights to say no to whatever they think is not okay with them. They want to go naked, they can go naked. They want to finger up themselves in front of the camera, they can do whatever the hell they want. But nobody is going to force their opinion onto these women who work for me. There are segments of the industry which are not at the top where we are, where a lot of exploitation does happen. But I feel like it's not directed towards the women anymore, it's more directed towards the men because there are a lot of uh, great gay men in the industry who are harassing a lot of young male models, and they some of them like sex, some of them do not like sex, and the ones who do not like sex are getting oppressed. But when it comes to women, I think like with all those things that are happening in the country and women are becoming more vocal about themselves, the Me Too coming up, and then after the Nirbhaya Kand, and men have taken a back seat when it comes to going up and like being out there and harassing a woman. I think they're much more scared of that now. But I personally have not seen any harassment happen with women in front of me, or at least in the side of territory that I lead. So so far it's been easy, or maybe it's just me because people do not want to get onto my bad side. I don't know what that is because I'm a very abrasive person. If I feel like something's going to happen that I do not like, I'm not going to be like go check on that person. I would go there myself physically and beat someone up with all the
Hmm.
consequences that I can take care of. I have no problem going to jail. I have no problem getting thrashed in my face if I have to, but I am going to go fight it myself. So I have personally not, I've not seen
Encountered.
oppression, encountered or seen any oppression towards women, at least in modeling. I think modeling right now is very safe for women because इसके बारे में इतनी बात हो चुकी है, people have soft spoken so
अब
much
डरते
about
हैं,
it. अब डरते हैं, बहुत डरते हैं.
अब डरते हैं करने.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about your modeling talent agency. Like when did you start it, and how's it going, and how has your experience been like while working on it? Tell us a bit more about it.
So I came back to India in 2017 after that episode that I had in the psychiatry department in New York. And my motto with this agency was brown is beautiful. And I feel like in India, everyone was like, the ideal, beautiful woman is
Beautiful.
Aishwarya Rai and it's
Mm.
Katrina Kaif. And I was like, when I was in a different nationality, they were like, "Oh my God, Ninja, you're stunning." I mean, even though I'm a pale brown woman, I'm not really brown, but I feel like when you go to the West, you're really brown. You're
Mm.
not a white person. So I realized that I am stunning, I'm beautiful the way I am, and I feel like this feeling should also be inculcated in the women back at home in India. So I feel like I felt like whenever I used to look at campaign, I used to feel like um, there needs to be a real Indian woman with a real body that she has onto those campaigns because I understand the visual impact it generates on the mindset of young girls in this country who always have inferiority complexes. So I feel like I needed to play a major role in doing that. So I started this company in 2017, Ninja's Model Management. We stood for Brown is Beautiful. And we promoted that dialect. We promoted it. We now have majorly replaced all white models in this country. I'm a racist fuck, if that's what it is. We've replaced all Firangi models in this country, and now Firangis have gone jobless in this country. It's all brown models who are making it to the biggest campaigns. Even if it's fashion, it's going to be an everlasting one. You know,
Hmm.
So a lot of people think that it's a wave that's hitting the industry right now, but
The
some
fashion.
waves are tsunamis, you know.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, so we are now, very cutthroat about the fact that we are only going to promote brown skin. A lot of people text me and say, "You have white models, international models." I was like, what do you really mean about international models when you say international model is a person who has traveled and has been into many agencies, or international model is someone who looks white? So we're right now kind of redefining certain
Okay.
words in the fashion industry. So, yeah, my experience so far has been, I would say, in the beginning it was difficult. It gets difficult. A lot of people in the fashion industry don't really like me. Not that I care, but because I'm a very simple person, you know. I am not like, oh my God, love your shoes. Where did you get that from, babe? I'm not a person like that. So I cannot be fake for a living. So a lot of people don't like me, but they still have to work with me because we're supremely talented. Um,
Yeah.
but this whole fashion industry, it's so fake. I swear. You know.
It is. It like that's what we also have an impression about it, and that's why I wanted to ask you, like, what made you choose it? So, but I'm really glad that somebody like you who has this kind of a mindset. I mean, you can really shake up the standards of beauty in our country, and people find like who obsess over white skin, fair skin, and dream of their daughters to be white or dream of their daughter-in-laws to be white and fair and all that. Eventually, these standards might break, and equality, this peace and harmony might prevail in India. So
Yeah,
that's really important because
we
women
have done
really
that.
suffer and get judged at times when they get married. They really get judged, or when they're in school, when they are young, when they're teenagers. They really have a tough time if they do not cater to that, high benchmark of beauty. So it's important to shake up the society, and it's really important that it's coming from people like you who are in power and position and have that kind of resources. So I think we are all living in a very good time and space right now.
I feel like that too. As women, we are in a very good time. And talking about the agency, we are a 100% inclusive agency. We have models with autism. We are the first fashion modeling agency in the world to have a model with autism. We have plus size models. We have models with vitiligo. We have models who are eunuchs, hijras. So we have
Yeah,
a 100% inclusive agency, and people from all walks of life are
yeah,
appreciated and celebrated. I believe that it's great to be beautiful, but it's amazing to be beautiful with a story that inspires people. Because I feel like we're living in tough times, and a lot of us need inspiration on a day-to-day
inspiration.
basis. So I feel like it's good to know that the person on the screen right now in front of you is a person who comes from the slums and is still wearing Calvin Klein. So that's the kind
Yeah,
of stories that we create. We bring in people from the slums and make them supermodels. We're not getting people from Greater Kailash and Vasant Kunj and making them supermodels because they have daddy's money anyway. So
yeah.
we're doing it with the purpose of um, helping below poverty line people. I feel like I kind of feel like that we're doing this what great politicians of this country must do. We're doing it in a very fashionable way, and I feel like the impact is much more on a bigger spectrum uh, than it is when the government tries to bring in policies. I feel like when you do bring in policies with fashion in it, it is much more impactful. So that's what we're trying to do.
Because fashion has always romanced our society. Like women and men equally, everybody gets, enamored by fashion. So when fashion is for a cause, it is all the more better.
Right.
So, any message you have for young models or people who aspire to get into this field of modeling? Any message you have for them or for their parents who feel scared to send their children into this line? Like anything that you would like to tell them?
I feel like, in general, people who are getting into the fashion industry or getting anywhere in life, I feel like they should never stop studying. They must always be very educated. Even if you're modeling, you must always have, I'm not saying a plan B, but you always must have something that you're really, really passionate about, and it should not be just flaunting your beautiful hair and skin. It should be much more intense than that. And I feel like all those parents who are scared of children their of sending their children to the fashion industry, they should really question themselves. What are they scared of? Are they scared of their daughters getting victimized, or are they scared of their daughters fighting back and getting victimized? What are they scared of? I mean, are they scared of their daughters getting naked? Would they not even give them one chance of fighting back? Because it's going to change her life. When someone goes through an episode of rape and comes out of it alive, that person becomes super, super strong. And I myself, I'm a person, and I don't call myself a victim or whatever that bullshit is, because it's a man's way of describing a woman. Okay,
True.
so I think people should not be scared. Taking off clothes is what you do in the shower as well. And if someone's forcing you to take off clothes, then you piss in their face. You do whatever you feel you have to do. And there's nothing to be scared about. This whole social taboo of, oh my God, my daughter's going to be victimized. There always is an option of saying no. It does come with consequences. So I think what the parents need to do is prepare their children to say no, because
No.
no one we're not in those times where a man can literally force himself on you. You're going to shout, people are going to come and help you. So it is more mental and emotional abuse that happens before an actual physical abuse. So I feel like parents should tell their daughters, teach them how to say no, and teach them that saying no does come with consequences of where you might not get the job, where you might
Hmm.
be kicked out of the job, or where your husband might abandon you because you're not giving him sex that night. So they must prepare their daughters that, listen, you will say no, and this is what's going to happen to you. So now this is going to happen to you. So how can you prevent that? You become financially stable. When
True.
you're
True.
financially stable, you can just go through consequences much more easier than you would
Eh,
otherwise.
True.
So don't be scared of abuse. Abuse can happen whenever the hell, it rains, wherever. But people should not be scared of abuse. Is like being scared of death. It's gonna
Yeah.
come anyway. Abuse can happen to you anyway. It could be anywhere. You shouldn't be scared
Even
of
at the
that.
hands of your own family members. So you really do not need to leave your home and go somewhere. It can happen anywhere. The important thing is that we need to raise our children to have the power to say no and to be strong enough to face the consequences. So that is a very, very important takeaway. Another thing that I really loved is that whenever anybody goes through any kind of trauma, it really makes them very bitter. So, but the best thing is you've used those situations in your life to create something very meaningful, not just for yourself, but for the society in general. So I think and I don't think many people have the power to do that. Because normally, even if somebody gets ragged in school or college, they think, let me become a senior, I'll do that same thing to my junior. So, but this is something so beautiful and profound that you had the power to use that to create something which was much more meaningful and much more bigger than those little incidents, like small, petty, people who could, torment you or torture you in any way. So I think that's a very, very wonderful thing. And I think you should also acknowledge that you have a special power and not many people have that.
You're so kind. I feel like everyone has, as I said, everyone has a choice to make, and I feel like I did not want to let the society decide my fate and my destiny. I feel like it was. I mean, I have been bitter. I have been very bitter with myself, but I feel like I am the person who's going to live in this body, and it's my life after all. And it's my
Yeah.
choice how I go about it. So, my choice of how I go about it is to dedicate my life, you know, to all the women out there. Because I feel like as a woman, I feel my biggest strength is being a woman. I get away
True.
with so many things because I have titties, to be honest. And not by showing them, by keeping them inside my shirt, just my gender is my savior. Because if
True.
I say that this guy is saying shit to me, he's gonna go behind the bars. So you take that sharam off from the dynamic. I'm very powerful, and I feel like all women must realize their power. And I feel like men control women and call them crazy and give them names like Durga Ma and Devi because they have celebrated women that the way they seek justice is by becoming crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a Durga. Okay, I'm going to be a female Krishna Bhagwan with my flute in my hand. You know, with this beautiful way of saying things, but saying things that are actually going to be intense. But I'm going to say it in a very melodic way, you know. So I am not going to be shouting and I'm not going to be abrasive. What is a man's perception of me? But
Yeah.
I am going to mind fuck them now. That listen, I'm here to talk and I'm going to tell you the nastiest of the shit that you do not want me to speak. I would never fathom a woman speaking in front of you, but I still am going to say those things, but in a very nice way. Like if you and I are saying, standing here and talking to each other, this is also very psychological. If I ask you to fuck off, you're going to be like, what the fuck is this woman saying? And if I say the same thing like, fuck off, you know, it's the same thing that I've said, but the impact is very different.
Different.
So I've just
Yeah. True.
tuned myself to say the righteous things in a very fucking different way.
Way.
So I
Yeah.
So I feel like that works. I learned that from Justice Ruth, by the way. I was watching her documentary. She's like, you want to fight for a woman, then you act like a woman. You know,
Yeah.
you don't shout. You talk. You talk like how the men talk, and more melodious than they are. And if things sound melodious, people want to hear them. Nobody wants to listen to an angry woman. People want to listen
Yeah.
to a sexy woman. You know, so
Yeah.
I learn it from the men. So that's what I'm trying to do.
And the best takeaway is Shanda Sharam. So as long as we are afraid of being, afraid of our own sharam, I think we are trapped. But once we know that it is an asset that we have, I think that's true emancipation.
Correct.
Yeah, that
Look at
would
you
be
all
the best.
smiling.
No, actually, it was a very, very lovely session, and it happens that you come across somebody who can influence you in that way in such a positive manner. So I'm really, really grateful to you for that, and this has been really wonderful. And
Thank
maybe
you.
we can connect back soon
Yeah,
on something.
you have my
Yeah,
number. I
yeah,
called you from my number. You can hit me up on WhatsApp whenever you need me.
definitely,
Where is this going to
definitely.
be, by the way? On Instagram?
It's gonna be on, yeah, it's gonna be on Instagram and Facebook and on the YouTube channel. So we'll
Awesome.
be sharing the link. Yeah. So it
Okay.
was lovely. And whenever, if at all, this is like off the interview, but if at all you're in Punjab, I would definitely like to meet you in
I'll
person.
come for sure. It's my day 3 of the viral fever that I have and I've started getting cold feet now, so I'm gonna go back to my bed. But I'm gonna be in
Yeah,
Bombay and whenever you do come to Delhi, please come
I'm
over.
gonna hit you up. Definitely. Definitely.
Definitely. You're very young and vivacious and you're so positive yourself. So I felt like, some people just want to interview for things that they want to write, but some people want to interview you because they want to actually understand, and you're one of those people.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that you're doing such a great job by putting a message out there and having me.
Thank you
So
so
yeah,
much.
thank you so much
It was
for
an absolute
connecting.
pleasure, and
Likewise.
hope to see you real soon.
Yeah, I will come I'll come to Punjab for sure, for sure. A lot of people I
Definitely.
know.
Definitely. Looking
Alrighty,
forward
my
to it.
friend. Okay, beautiful.
Okay.
You send me your pictures for modeling as well.
Definitely.
Okay,
Will
ji.
do.
Bye, bye, bye,
Okay. Thank you. Bye
bye.
bye.